it just surprises me endlessly when new people play it and go, I want to tell other people about this.
Yeah, I killed myself on purpose on Spelunky so I could go to Cactus now.
Are you going to be alright playing and talking at the same time?
Oh yeah, I should be. Like, I've got some stuff written down just in case. Like, if I'm in the heat of the moment in the game and I can't think of a question, I got some questions already set to go, so...
Excellent.
And hopefully a lot of people will be showing up in a bit, because the Northern Lions Super Show is ending in 4 minutes, and they get a lot of people that watch them, because they're good dudes, so...
Awesome. Yeah, they're actually really, really nice.
And also, chat, I have... Thanks to Sanatana, I had 2 copies of my own. He also gave me 2 copies. So we have 4 games to give away. If you don't have the game of Assault Android Cactus, let your friends know, obviously. We got 4 copies to give away. Hopefully we can do it tonight if we get enough people without it here.
Yeah, I'm always happy to share copies of the game. I think it's fun. You shouldn't have to be buying those, though. You can let us know if you want to do a giveaway.
No, I totally understand, but like the same thing I told Sharma, I'll tell you too. Like, that's why I love Cactus so much, and you guys, because when that stuff's going on with Exotics and Biwi, we were doing that little charity stuff for him, or you can call them charity fundraiser or whatever you want. And you guys gave us so many codes to the streamers and also to give away, so I really thought that was awesome. I wanted to give some love back to the game, and also credit to the developers that you guys are just great people. You really are. You're probably some of my favorite people I've met that make indie games. Seriously, I'm not just saying that, but it's for real. A lot of people in the chat I know feel the exact same way.
I appreciate that. I mean, really, for us, it's just we look at it and we go, if we can use the game to help someone like Biwi who definitely needed help at the time, and you know, it's not going to kill us to give away some copies of the game, so yeah, everybody wins. I mean, you guys have let so many people know about Cactus who would never have known it existed beforehand, so I think everybody's helping everybody.
Yeah. Okay, now I got my controller set up, because I honestly think the Aubergine, I really feel the new character is better utilized with a controller, because the way she plays, it feels like to keep that disc away instead of like clicking my mouse a bunch, I'd rather just kind of pressurize my trigger to keep it a certain distance.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting one, because we've had a few different control ideas, and I'm not sure if we're going to do any of them, because I like the way she currently controls, but a couple of the ideas people have had are things like you move Hilo to where the mouse cursor is, where the targeting reticle is, and for analog sticks you move him out as far as the trigger's being held in. But she works pretty well with just the pressing to hold to move out the pet, and then release it to bring it back in, and then using the black hole gun constantly. What do you think of Aubergine?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I really like her, honestly. Like, she's pretty tough to use, but to get used to anyway. Not tough to use, but tough to get used to the fact that you're spinning a disc and you're not using bullets, because like everyone else uses bullets or a projectile from a weapon, and this one it's a flying disc that you gotta control, and she has a really awesome black hole that I don't use nearly enough, because it recharges a lot faster, I think, than a lot of the secondary weapons, if I'm not mistaken. So
it recharges quite quick. It's pretty much the same as the other ones, but it does it's useful straight away as soon as you launch it out. Like, you don't need to even wait for it to be fully recharged to make use of the pulling aspect. It does do direct damage as well. Like, if it hits an enemy, a big enemy, it'll do a big amount of direct impact. And if you hit a boss, it'll actually slow them right down.
Nice, I'm getting some pro tips on how to use her now, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. She's actually a very strong team play character as well.
Yeah, I can't wait till, I know you guys said you probably won't do online, because it's going to be hard since you don't have too many developers, but the local, I'm excited to get some of my friends that want to come over, and I have a couple controllers now and stuff, so we could just play on my big TV and just play the hell out of Cactus. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. You can actually mix and match as well between controllers and keyboard and mouse if somebody wants to.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, we wanted to make it so that there was never a point where you felt like you were being forced into console controls or anything like that. It's important to us that people know, like, it's a PC game. It's a very console-style game, but it's definitely being made as a PC game.
Yeah. And I guess I'd like to start out because it's about the time to start. And I think we're getting some more people showing up, so thank you everyone that's showing up now. But I guess you can start off, in case people don't know you exactly who you are. His name is Sanatana Mishra, and he works on Cactus, obviously. So just like kind of let everyone know like what your part of the team for the game is, and
sure,
that kind of stuff.
Well, as you said, I am Sanatana Mishra, and I do work on Assault Android Cactus, so I'm one of the 3 people working on it. There's myself, Tim Dawson, and Jeff Van Dyke. And I handle a lot of the design side, so if you feel like a weapon doesn't do enough damage or the spawns in a level are too difficult, then I'm the guy that's probably made your life really sad. And yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. So I make a lot of the level layouts, like the one that you're playing at the moment is one that I set up all the spawns in.
Nice.
So if you get angry at the spawns, again, that is my fault. And I've also made some of the sound effects in the game, but really Jeff is the audio wizard, so he makes the soundtrack, and now he's been handling all the sound effects and everything, so
nice.
He does a lot of that stuff. And Tim is our sole artist, programmer, animator, high concept, everything basically. He makes the whole game. We kind of just ride on his coattails. So
nice.
Yeah, that's how the team dynamic works.
Nice. And I also talked to Sharma, and I kind of got his story on like how you guys got into gaming and computers and all that stuff. But
yeah,
I'd like to hear from you, like if it's a kind of the same story, or like what got you interested in video games to begin with, and then eventually to want to create or be a part of making a game.
Yeah, before I do that, I will mention, I guess, my brother Sham, who at first was just deciding he wanted to help us in any way he could with the game, but now he's pretty much like doing our PR and outreach and all kinds of things just because he's so interested. So yeah, I just want to give him a shout out.
Yeah,
I think he
awesome
officially
guy. Really awesome.
He declared.
Guy.
Yeah, he declared himself our official PR person the other day on a stream, and it's like, now that I've said it, like they just have to accept it, right? So I'm like, all right, I guess, Sean, whatever. Yeah, the way we got into games and things. Yes, Sans, you probably haven't seen this android yet because she's only just gone in a few days ago, and if you beat Aubergine, you'll unlock her. I got into games. My brothers were actually into games, and I was very young, so. Sham and Vrahan, they would play Dungeons and Dragons and all kinds of board games even before we had video games.
Yeah.
But basically, the concept, the creativity behind them was always so interesting to us, like making our own figurines and rules and worlds and things like that. And then when games came along and we started playing, you know, Nintendo Entertainment System and Commodore 64 and things like that, it just stayed really interesting, but the possibilities increased so exponentially, right? You could make anything, and it was really, really easy to create whole new worlds and characters and things like that. So I really wanted to make them from a young age. I didn't have the confidence to actually try and join the games industry for like 20 years after that, though. I always thought, everyone who makes games, they must be so smart and so good at everything they do. I was pretty wrong about that. So if you are not confident and don't want to join the games industry or try and make your own game, all I can suggest is give it a go, because you'd be surprised how much of making games is just being willing to try. So yeah, good luck other people. It's never been easier than right now either to make games, I don't think, from scratch, coming from no understanding of technically how it's done. There's so many tools like Unity and Game Maker, so many online forums and places to help. So,
oh yeah,
give it a go.
There's a lot of places, and there's a lot of engines too. Like you said, you got the Unity engine, then there's also the Unreal Development Kit, and there's so many things that you can use. Whether you want to use your kind of 3D-ish graphics like this game has, or whether you want like a 2D type of thing like Terraria and games like that.
Yeah, if you're a good artist, 2D artist, then you can just go ahead and do any kind of crazy art style you want now as well. There's so many great tools for 2D, and even Unity just implemented their 2D engine, so there's cool stuff, even if you're not versed in how to make 3D models and things like that.
Nice.
Oh, Aubergine. You seem to be controlling it pretty well.
Yeah, at least I like the controller with it. But yeah, Rainy Day brings up a good thing. Like, will you bring more disco levels like this level? I believe he's talking about, because that's one of my favorite things about this game and how creative you guys have been. Because every single map has its own kind of theme to it. I guess. Like you have the one with the conveyor belts. You have the one with the map that just changes and the walls. The floor falls down and changes shape. And this one with like the lights coming on and off, it's really, really cool, like what you guys have done with it.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried to make sure that the levels have got a lot of variety, because we realized pretty early on that one of the things about twin-stick shoot-'em-ups is that the gameplay can get very stale, very fast. Like, you're doing a lot of the same actions. So, we actually took a really, almost like a platform game approach to it. So when you play platformers and things like that, especially classic ones, you'll notice that they often keep the mechanics really limited. You learn all the mechanics in like a minute or two, but then the levels drastically change and alter the way you play the game. So we try to take that approach with Cactus, where actually every level needs to be played differently, even though you're using the exact same character mechanics.
Yes.
I think it's worked out pretty well. Like you said, this level here has got the shifting bits of floor where it goes through, I think, like 4 or 5 different layouts.
Yeah.
And it's always evolving areas that you can't interact with too much. So it's a little bit different to some of the other interactive areas, interactive levels. The level before this had the disco lights with the lights turning off and on. And we try not to reuse concepts too much. And if we do reuse them, we try and put a spin on them. Like the level we just put in, where that has a shifting layout, but it's based on you stepping on switches. So it's no longer just shifting based on nothing you can control, but now it's shifting based on player action.
Oh, so that's what those little red squares in the floor were, huh? If you step on those, it changed?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't understand, because I was afraid to go near any red squares after that furnace level, or the fire.
Right.
I'm sure you don't want to know what I'm talking about. The fire chases you, and it was awful.
Yep.
I cried a little bit.
Wow.
I think you were there.
It's pretty hard.
I think you were there one day when I got pretty salty about the game, and I hope you know it's not the game. It's just I know how to play it. I just get mad at myself for just doing kind of dumb things, but it takes practice. It definitely does.
Yeah, it can be a pretty difficult game. Like just then, you were on the edge.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that level though, the fire level. That's a lot of people actually, when the early access build first went up, were telling us the game was too hard or too punishing, and then using that level as an example. But what you don't get actually at the moment, or you're getting it more now, but what you didn't get at the time was the context that actually Convection is the third last level in the game. So you need to have beaten 22 other levels by the time you get there.
Exactly.
And at the time, there were only something like 16 levels in the game total, so people were just going one by one. But I think when all the levels are done, levels like that are really, really difficult, you'll actually find them a lot easier if you've had to work your way up there and go through the full campaign. It's part of being in early access, is it can be difficult to give you that kind of difficulty curve experience.
Yeah.
But we're getting there now. I think there's something like 20 levels or so in the game now, right? Or 19 maybe.
Yeah, it's getting there. You guys are getting really close.
So very, very much on the edge.
And another question I had for you is, because I've also had the pleasure of playing the game, I believe you were part of it as well, if I understood Sharma correctly, was Antibody. You had a part in that one as well, right?
Yeah, Antibody was actually a game we made, me and Tim and Sham made in a single weekend.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Thank you. If anybody wants to play that, that's actually a free game that you can download or play in your browser for Windows or Mac, and it's also on Android. This game is not on Android, by the way, despite having Android in the title. And I am not sure, but I'm presuming having Android in the title is why about 90% of the PC-specific indie gaming or regular gaming sites don't respond to my emails, but we'll see.
But yeah, I'm paying attention to chat, Sarah. It's just I'm talking to Sanatana, I'm letting him get his words in. I want to like interrupt him because of chat. But Randy does have a good question. Like every bullet does 1 damage, or like with the math between the characters, I guess, and the weapons. I'm thinking he's getting at like.
Yeah. I definitely do a lot of tuning based on numbers, but it's more like the theoretical max damage potential of every character is actually far less useful for balancing than actual applied gameplay calculations. Like, I think the theoretical max damage that any character could be doing, or damage per second, may actually be the highest on Coral. But you don't really see that come through in dominating the leaderboards, do you? So it can be difficult to balance something around a number that doesn't really have that much meaning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every bullet does do 1 damage. Coral actually generates a ray, like a little shotgun effect for every single piece of damage she does, which is why when you level up the gun, it like looks ridiculous. And it's the same with enemy bullets; they all do 1 damage as well. So we have to like shoot a lot of them if we want to damage the player.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed with the game. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, that's what I kind of noticed, like, the characters. I think the only reason why Holly and Lemon are honestly dominating the leaderboards at this moment is because they're so much easier to use, and that's another kind of question I was leading into. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like Holly and Lemon and Starch seem to be, like, beginner-level, easy characters to do very well with. And then Cactus seems to be kind of a normal type play mode because she's ranged and also close up. And then you've got Coral and now Aubergine, which are both, I guess you could say, upper echelon level play styles.
Yeah, they're definitely more complicated. I think, I'm not sure, but the next character that we're going to put in, I believe, will be somewhat more in the range of Cactus and who else was there? No, Cactus is pretty much the only mid-tier one, right? So
yeah.
The next character, we've been talking a little bit on Twitter, but her main gun's going to be a railgun. So I'm looking forward to seeing how people interact with that.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this railgun, and also Sanatana's another one that you can thank for my nightmares when he was talking about a possible like pure just mine level. That was scary. I was terrified.
Oh, that's going in for sure as a bonus level somewhere. You won't even know. It's it's a level, the current name of the level, and it's one that Tim actually made a while back. Like, I think he made it maybe even at the start of the year. It's called Balls, and
nice.
And the concept of the level is endless mines. There's there's 2 enemies. There are mines, and there's a laser turret.
Oh man.
So, and the laser turret's in the middle, and the mines all come at you from the outside. So you're basically just screwed no matter what you do.
That's so evil. But the black hole might help with it a little bit.
Yeah, the black hole is actually amazing against mines because it just pulls them all in.
Nice. And another question I had with the characters is, obviously, I was really wondering how you guys selected the like specific and precise weapon combinations for each character, because obviously you had the weapons made, or maybe you had the weapons set for each character, but things like Cactus could have had her machine gun, and also she could have had like the cannonball or the rocket. So I was wondering how you decided like which guns to put together with the characters, like what the thoughts was on that.
Originally, the game actually didn't have character-specific weapons like really early on. We actually designed a bunch of weapons, and the gameplay had it so you could combine any two weapons to create a character.
Oh, okay.
So we had a set of primary and a set of secondary weapons, and your character was essentially just a character skin, unlike now where they're full-fledged, interesting playstyle, personality, all that kind of stuff. This was really early on, so totally different game at the time. I don't even think the battery mechanic was in at that point. And what we ended up finding was that it wasn't that interesting to have the gameplay out like that. Like you didn't use certain combinations because they didn't make sense. So even though you had the choice to change whatever you wanted, you weren't actually making good use of it. It looks like that weapon's not damaging the bomber properly unless he's inside the range. That might actually be a bug.
Yeah, no, I think I might have missed and like had it circling around him. I'm not 100% sure, but.
All right. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, but what we found was you didn't really use the weapons the way we were hoping you would use them to make interesting combinations, or to create different gameplay, because you just find a dominant combination and go, all right, this is the one I'll play, and I'll just change my skin whenever I get bored of looking at red hair or yellow hair.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that great. So what we did was we looked at a bunch of other games in similar genres. In particular, we looked at like Japanese style shoot 'em ups, the cave shoot 'em ups, and they always did this cool thing where your character was like a fighting game character. They represented a play style. They had a set of special abilities and attacks, and they had a personality to them, and they had dialogue that matched their personality and their fighting style. And they took that over to shoot 'em ups, where you'd have the character, personality, gameplay style, dialogue, storyline, everything tied in to give you something you could identify with really in an interesting way. And someone's talking about me. And so what we did was we actually adapted the game and decided, you know what, let's give that a go. We made every character unique and gave them a weapon combination, and we found that we could actually balance out the weapon combination so that there was no one super dominant combination, and they were all interesting to play as. Yeah. So you had Seeking Shot plus Cannonball is meant to be a balanced combination because you have a primary weapon that's easy to use, but doesn't have the maximum damage potential that some other weapons have. And then a secondary weapon that's actually quite difficult to use but has possibly the highest damage potential out of all secondaries. So as a character, she can still top the leaderboards, but it's also totally accessible.
Yeah, and that's why I always recommend Holly to most beginner players, because when you're first learning how to aim in this game, it can be kind of harrowing at first, because the difficulty, as you said before, does ramp up really quickly. So that's why I tell people to try out Holly, because if you're just going crazy, the bolts will still go after the enemies for you, and give you a bit of a chance to survive until you get really comfortable with the controls.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually been thinking about adding a little screen to the character select area that shows the intended complexity of the character, so that you can, like, when you're first picking characters, you can see that Coral is an advanced character, and Cactus is intermediate, and Holly is for beginners.
Nice. So I was right with my assumptions. I'm proud of myself.
Oh, absolutely correct.
And I also had a... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
No, I keep cutting you off. You can go ahead. You're the man of the hour.
It's only because I'm in Australia, so there's a little bit of time lag. So when I start talking, you may have already started talking, and I just haven't heard it yet. So
no,
go ahead.
Good. No, I was just going to ask, like, with the game, because the game seems really awesome, I wasn't sure which aspect was your favorite to work on so far, and is there like other future aspects that you're really excited about? And if there's stuff in the future you don't want to talk about, I completely understand.
So the thing that I've been most happy to work on so far is the interactive levels. This level that you're actually playing right here was maybe like the second or third level I worked on, and the concept of the changing floors it was something we had a rough idea for, but then I made it into this, and I designed the layouts, and I actually programmed it, so I solved the programming problems, which is something I was really happy about because I don't really know how to program, and I basically learned how to script in JavaScript just so I could make this level, and it took me about a week or two to make this level and the logic behind it. But then I've used the skills that I developed learning how to make this level to make a whole bunch of other interesting level changes and designs. So this is probably the most fun. There was a really cool blog post we did at one point that explained how we do it as well. It's actually set up so that the level design is a 16 by 11, I think. I'll have to look up the exact number, but it's a pixel grid of a certain number of pixels wide and a certain number of pixels high. And each pixel represents a single 1 meter by 1 meter cube. So the level is made up actually of an exact amount of identical cubes that can all change between being a hole, being an island, being ground, or being a pillar. And I basically paint a picture in GIMP of pixels, and the color that I change the pixels to represents the color that I want the ground to change to, and I read that image and it creates a level layout automatically from the colors in the image. So I can paint pixels in different colors and create a completely different layout in a matter of 30 seconds.
Nice. That's really awesome, actually.
It's the same way I ended up doing the convection level. I paint a pixel grid of green and red pixels, and the amount of green and red determines how long to wait until it turns on and turns into fire, and how long to stay turned on. So that's how I create those really complex fire patterns that you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun, but doing that stuff with the levels so far has been the most enjoyable.
That's really cool. I like it a lot. And
the thing that's coming up that's going to be enjoyable is definitely going to be endless mode. I think endless mode is going to be really, really fun.
Oh yeah.
Also, when people see some of our, we don't have that many crazy bonus unlockable options, but when people see the ones we do have planned, I think they're going to really enjoy them.
Good. And I like how you guys kind of like, you've been talking a lot with the community, whether it's been Twitch or Twitter, which I think is really important as a developer, because there's so many developers that will do a game in their own vision, which is fine, but they'll get feedback from people and say, I really don't like this, or I would like to see this, and they just completely ignore it, and they just go with what they want to do. You guys are actually really taking into account and really taking to heart what people are feeling and thinking about the game, which makes this game so amazing, because it started out as your creation, you guys are still doing an amazing job with it, but with those bonus levels, you're kind of just helping the community kind of reach something that they've wanted, and you guys are just delivering it, which I think is amazing.
Thank you. It's been pretty important to us that if we were going to launch the game in an alpha state and actually sell it for money, it was really important to us that we be open to taking feedback, because if you are doing that, you have to make use of it, and you have to be open about the fact that the game's not finished, so people can critique it and actually tell you things you didn't want to hear or didn't know, and you need to be able to take all that feedback.
Yeah.
Obviously there's some things that when people say it that like ultimately you just go, well, that's actually nothing like the game that we want to make, so maybe check out a different game. Like we've had a couple, I think we had 2 or 3 guys on the Steam forum who were really, really adamant that the game was terrible because we had the battery mechanic, and that the only way we could ever be successful was to remove the battery mechanic. And I respect that they don't enjoy the battery mechanic, because like the one thing you have to think about a player's point of view is that they're never wrong about how they feel, right? Like if somebody says they hate a mechanic, they legitimately hate it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we should change a mechanic, because it might be what's interesting about the game to a lot of other people.
Exactly.
So it's a fine line between taking people's feedback and basically changing the game away from the style of game that we think it should be.
Yeah.
I think we've done an alright job so far. I'd like to think that, and we've taken a lot of feedback on board. You'd be surprised at just how different some of the enemy behaviors and like the invisible kind of numbers tuning that goes on behind the scenes has changed based on just me watching streams of people like you play the game, and where you get stuck and how the enemies behave, and like which enemies tend to kind of cheap shot you and hit you and things like that. Like I lowered the attack range on the red drones in the most recent patch because I noticed that people were getting shot by their accelerating bullets just when they're off screen quite a bit. And I don't think anybody ever noticed, but it was one of those things where I don't have a problem with it because I designed the spawns in the level, so I know exactly when they're coming and where they're coming from. But when I watch other people get hit by them and they have no idea where the bullet came from or why, it's something I had to bring in.
Yeah. And you got to see me when I was being really salty on one map. That was really funny when you're here and you're like, it's amazing that I can make a game and someone across the world is swearing because of it. That was really funny.
It happens.
No, but I agree with you entirely. Like, of course some people aren't going to like some mechanics, but like I saw a couple of people in chat say, I really, really love the battery idea because there's so many twin stick shooter games out there. It's just a cool mechanic that, because obviously you're Android, so it's kind of cool to take into account their power, as well as kind of giving it its interesting own feature to separate it from those games so it doesn't become like just another twin stick shooter. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really good. I like it a lot.
Those are some of our main reasons for actually implementing the mechanic, was to give it its own identity, and because we thought it solves a lot of problems you actually have with, or we had with some twin stick shooters, where you end up just defending and walking around circle strafing all the time, and now you actually have to run out and get the battery.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good.
I got a question from the chat, which is, or a couple of things that are being said actually. Toasters plus black holes is the funniest looking thing in this game. I kind of agree. Wait till you see the mega toasters in the later levels we just put in.
Oh yeah, those are amazing.
The red toasters, which are actually called Fidos. I'm trying to make them so people call them Fido because they're like a dog, right? Get it?
Yeah.
the
They're
red
so
ones
cute.
actually shoot.
I feel bad killing them.
Yeah, they're very cute. Although the massive red ones shoot 8 mini rockets, so be
They're
careful
jerks.
with those guys.
Those are jerks.
And Jens was asking how many people have gotten upset that the characters are only female, because I've seen a few people comment that they wouldn't play a female character. There's actually, there's been quite a few comments of people saying they will not play the game unless there's a male character implemented. And a few people have called it one of the most sexist games they've ever seen, which is pretty funny because I can think of maybe 90% of the games in my games collection you can't play as a female character, so does that make them the most sexist game ever?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a weird thing, personally. When I read someone on the forum say that someone said they wouldn't play the game because they don't cross-play, I think the term was. I'm not sure, I'll have to look it up. And I couldn't help but just be a little bit confused. Again, if somebody's not comfortable with that, that's entirely up to them, but I don't know, I've played so many games that only let you play as guys. I can only imagine if women shared the same viewpoint that they would never play video games.
Yeah, and it's something I talked to Sharma about as well, and I really respect the fact that like it's all female characters. Like, it didn't happen on purpose, according to him. It just, he had an idea for characters, and it just kind of happened. And I also think it's amazing because until Sharma said something about it, I did not realize they were all female characters, which I think that this game does good at, like, making you not even think about the fact that they're all female, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was definitely our intention just to design a bunch of interesting characters. It just so happened, for a variety of reasons, that they all ended up being female. Not the least of which was that really, really, really early on, the other characters potentially were just going to be like skin swaps, so like color variations on Cactus, before they had personalities and things like that. So at the earliest outset, just from an asset standpoint, a point of view, they all had to be female. But then over time, we developed personalities and gameplay styles and all these other elements, and we decided just to leave them as female because the first 3 that we came up with were really interesting, and we thought, wow, that's a good theme. Why don't we continue with that?
Are you gonna make Siri in the game? No, I'm just kidding.
Ha! If we come up with any male characters that we thought were legitimately like really, really interesting at the time, if we'd come up with a couple, we definitely would have implemented them. But once you have 4 characters and they're all female and all pretty interesting, it just feels like, all right, we'll go with this theme, you know?
I need the battery. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to like shout that in your ear.
You're gonna do fine.
No, but yeah, that's another thing I really like about the game a lot, and it doesn't bother me at all. And the people that honestly, not to be like rude or anything, but if they're not going to play the game just because it's all female characters, well then, better off not even having them play the game at all, because it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a childish view in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway. Oh, that's so close.
Did you die? You're not quite at the end yet on my screen. Yeah, War Machine's pretty difficult. She actually requires a lot of attention, so she's probably what I would describe as the hardest character to play while talking.
I think I've been doing alright though. I made it to Vestibule. But
Yeah,
I do have another question for you as well. For the bosses, I was wondering where the inspiration for each boss and the type of boss came from. Like, who kind of had the idea and.
Embryo and Vespula are definitely Tim's ideas. Like, I think the character designs of things are pretty much mostly from Tim. Like, I've had a lot of input on them, but they're all his original concepts. So, you can blame that guy if you dislike them, but you can also like him if you do like them. So, he gets both.
Nice.
In terms of what actions and things they do, we tend to discuss it quite a lot between us. So, like, if something doesn't work or if we have an idea for an attack, then it could just come from anyone, me, Tim, or Jeff. I think some of the things I came up with for this character were the exploding fast bullets and things like that. A lot of the tuning as well were different my ideas. Tim came up with all of the swarm mechanics, which are super, super neat.
Nice.
And yeah, like Tim made all the effects, but some of the concepts of how the effects work and how the different visual tells and things happen were my idea. So it's shared back and forward. Right now I'm designing the 3rd boss.
Nice.
I'll give you guys some hints as to weaponry and things that he uses. So he's going to actually use a lot of lasers, because lasers are cool. And he's going to use potentially little satellite objects that do different things, much like the first boss in Ikaruga. You know how he threw out those little things and they would shoot bullets at you in different patterns? So objects that maybe do that. That's the current concept. We'll see how that actually plays out over the course of the boss fight, because a lot of things about this boss changed, and a lot of things about Embryo as well.
Uh-oh.
Ikaruga is evil.
Uh-oh. Are you okay? Sanatana, are you okay? I'll come save you.
Sorry?
No, I heard like a ambulance in the background. I was just being silly.
Oh, welcome to the valley where I live every day.
But I don't want to get anyone in chat upset with this question, but you gotta have a favorite character in the game. Which character do you like the most?
Which character do I like the most? Personal favorite's probably Holly. I like the cannonball.
You broke my heart. I was hoping you were gonna say Coral.
Well, Coral is like my character. I tend to play the most with Coral, but Holly's grown on me just in the fact that you can use the cannonball to like kill an infinite number of things.
Yes. Yeah. Let me see what
It's true, Dirty Yor, I think that's how I say your name, Dirt Yor. It is just another twin-stick shoot-'em-up, and with no persistent elements other than unlocks and things like that. But that's kind of the point. Having persistent element in a game like this basically just turns it into a grind. So the two ways of looking at the game is we could either add a bunch of RPG elements and make it so that the first 5 to 10 times you play through the game are totally irrelevant. You can never top the leaderboards, you can never power through a level, you can your skill is pretty much irrelevant. Or we could design it the way we did, where you play through the game and at any given moment you could be the best player in the world based on how well you're playing. And ultimately we decided to go with the more traditional arcade approach because we think it's more interesting that you don't have to play through the game 10 times before you can even start trying to play through the game properly.
Exactly.
It is one of those things though where like we thought about it and we actually did have persistent elements in there at one point and specifically removed them, not because like it's hard to do or it's easier to make the game this way. It's actually a lot harder to make a game without persistent elements because you have to balance it in such a way that the first time people play it through, it is purely player skill. If you have grinding elements in there, you can actually screw with your difficulty curve a lot and people will be fine because they'll just grind it out if they get stuck. If you get stuck in Cactus, the only way to progress is get better.
Oh, shots fired. No, I was kidding.
It's a difficult thing to do with the design, right? If someone comes to us and says the game's too hard, the only thing we can say is, well, I hope you get better at the game because there's no way to make the game easier for you and without making it easier for other people.
Exactly. That's really cool. And another thing I really love about the game, and I was wondering like when it came about, because it seemed like before you could be whatever character and it was just character skins. I really love the individual dialogue that every single character has with the bosses. When did that become kind of an idea and a direction that you started to take?
I think it was around about the time we decided we weren't going to voice act all of the dialogue because if we were voice acting all of the dialogue, there's no way we would have been able to afford or organize to have so much unique dialogue. But it was always a hope for us to be able to make the characters really, really unique and give them their own storyline, reveal bits of their relationship. So you have Lemon, who is basically got a different relationship with Vespula to the other androids, and the next boss number 3, is going to be. Don't tell me you failed again. So close, so close. You killed her.
Oh man, sorry.
That's all right. So boss number 3 is actually going to be Aubergine's boss because Aubergine is she's a security android, and boss number 3 is going to be the head of ship security.
Nice.
So by having unique dialogue and all these different characters, the ones like, because other than Cactus, all the other 7 androids are various androids that had functions on the ship before things went wrong. So we can we can kind of tell their personal stories and not just the overarching story.
Alright guys, you know what time it is? We're going to do our first giveaway if everyone's all cool with that. And I made the keyword is Sanatana, but you spell it like this. I'll say it in chat for you.
Nobody knows how to spell it.
If you don't have the game and you want a copy, type that in the chat and you can be entered for the giveaway. Let me put the giveaway screen up really quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to at least try to give a couple away to the amazing people that are here listening. You should be able to see the screen. Oh, we got 3 people in. Sarah, you already got the game. Oh man. These guys are silly. But obviously you said you're a bit away from your release date, so what kind of date are you shooting for now? And hopefully you're not too far behind.
Well, it's part of the reason why we haven't given a specific day yet. Like we did say November, and I feel bad about that. But between when we said November and now, a lot of things have happened that were bad. First of all, I was lazy, so that happens.
Yeah.
Second of all, I was lazy, so that happens. I mean, Tim's been working really hard. No. We've actually all been working reasonably hard. I think I could have worked a bit harder, but even if I had, I don't think it would have been possible to hit November. It just turned out that way. We went to a few different events. We lost a few weeks here and there, and the game ended up being bigger and more complicated than we thought it would be. So now we're looking at, hopefully, and I don't want to lock myself into this, so hopefully a kind of end of January time frame.
Okay, that's not too bad though, because I believe wasn't your original launch date, was it November or December?
It was end of November originally, so adding 2 months onto that. But we'll see how we go. I'll let you know early on in January how that's looking. But basically, from here on out, we're just adding lots and lots of content. So we added that character this week. I'm hopeful that next week we can really do some good work on the third boss and get that in there, and basically every week or every 2 weeks add a new big chunk of content. I mean, we've already got the weapons down for the next the 7th character as well, so once we add the boss in, you can beat the boss and unlock that character. Although it's a bit of work to do on the character too. There's always work to do on everything.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, I know a lot of people here appreciate the fact that you pushed the date back, because obviously we're all looking forward to the full game, but that's something that I know a lot of people appreciate, because the fact that a lot of AAA people, they'll have their deadline, and no matter what, they push the game out. It might not be great, but I like the fact that you guys are taking your time, and if you're not satisfied with it, you're going to push the date back to get what you want out of it. Like, you're not going to rush it, which is nice.
Yeah, it just, we can't release the game until it's good, basically.
Yeah.
There was a point where we looked at it and we said, all right, we could hire some external people and rush out a last bit of art content and like ship the game off, but basically I think we've made a game that I'm really, really, really proud of, and the last thing I want to do is screw it up by rushing out any of the remaining big features, Like, there's actually, I'm so happy that people are enjoying the game even for what it is right now, because there's so much framework missing that I'm hopeful when we've actually finished everything, people will see it in a totally different light. When you've got an intro cutscene that sets the stage and explains what the characters are doing there, what the storyline is, and then when you go into the boss fights, they give you the extra bit of storyline. Like right now, all you have is that one screen at the start and then the boss fight dialogue. So the storyline is like completely irrelevant. But there will come a time when it's like, I'm hoping, quite interesting, and just playing through the game level to level and unlocking each level, not just having all of them unlocked by default, will give the game a totally different feel. And then on top of that, we've got a full unlock system with bonuses that isn't even in the game yet. So you'll be earning credits for beating levels, which will let you unlock special extra options.
Yeah.
Things like classic camera mode, where it goes into full-on orthographic and looks almost like a SNES game, but in 3D. These little things that, like, they're not just playing the game. Like right now, all you can do is just play the game, and people are liking that. So hopefully, when they can just play the game and unlock extra bonus cool stuff, hopefully they like it even more.
Yeah, and to be honest, every time you guys have released an update, I've honestly started falling more and more in love with the game, because, like you said, it really sounds like it's a balancing act, and you guys seem to be doing very well with how you are balancing it.
Cheers. Appreciate that.
Of course. And I'm just making sure chat didn't have any questions. I don't want to like ignore them. That's all.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on it too. It's hard to talk and read and watch at the same time.
But
thank you, Azra.
But I know Cactus is a game that you guys are doing now, obviously, and after Cactus is done, you guys are gonna take a nice long break. But I don't know if you're planning on making like more games in the future. We hope so because we love your guys' games. But another question before that, I guess I should have asked is, after seeing Antibody and playing this game, they both seem to be score attack based games. So is that just a style of game you enjoy making more, or did that just kind of happen by coincidence?
Arcade style games like this are definitely big on my enjoyment list. Like any game where it lives or dies based on the feel and the mechanics are ones that I enjoy. I'm not a great writer, and I'm definitely not so great at the big, more story-heavy elements. Tim's pretty great at those. So I prefer these kind of things, but I wouldn't rule out the next game being something totally different. I think we've got about 4 or 5 concepts we're already thinking about at the moment. Like, we're not thinking too hard because it's probably going to be middle of next year before we're done with finish the PC version, finish the Wii U, Vita, and PS4 versions, and then bring back anything that's new in those versions to PC in a free update, and then we'll be done with Cactus. So that's quite a long ways away right now.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, that could be 6 months or anything like that. So still going to be busy for a while. But when we are done, I would love to do 2 different things. I've got some ideas for different interesting platforming games that I want to make using 3D gameplay in 2D space,
Nice.
which is hard to explain, but it's something that we were trying to do when we were at Sega on the last game we worked on there, the Castle of Illusion remake. There's a couple other ideas too that I want to try and do. Like, if I'm going to do another arcade game, I'd love to do a beat 'em up with online multiplayer for 4 players this time.
Nice.
Yeah, just different ideas that are out there. We'll see if any of them actually come to fruition. There's like 5 or 6 more that we're talking about, and it could be any of them, it could be none of them. We have to make enough money that we can like pay our rent and actually keep making games, so that's the first step. I'm somewhat hopeful that things will pick up on Steam when we release the full game. Like, it's done pretty alright on early access, but I still feel like so few people know about the existence of this game.
Nice. And that's part of the reason why I like doing giveaways and stuff, because it is a great game. You guys are good people, so I'm trying to help spread the word a bit and get more people playing it. And then by getting those people excited, I had one guy message me like, "Thank you so much, this game is amazing." And just a simple tweet like that, to me, that means like people following him and following me got to see that, so it might have got them like, I wonder what this game is like, and check it out. So been trying to help out, but yeah, I hope it picks up as well once it comes out of early access.
I appreciate that. I'm hopeful. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who don't buy games in the alpha state, and that's rightfully so. If you're not enjoying that, or if you're not a big member of the community, somebody who gives a lot of feedback, I can see why alpha games might not be your thing. Because a big part of it is you're getting a game that's not finished, so it's not as fun as it will be when it's out. But in exchange for that, you get to impact that game's development. So if you're not into impacting the development, I can see why you wouldn't be into playing the alpha.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's totally fair enough. And I'm happy to have people giving away copies of the game and people enjoying the game. There was a guy who messaged me last night he was wondering if he bought the Steam version, if I would send him a Humble key, because he likes to have the Humble versions in his receipt list, the DRM-free Humble versions. But he had only money on his Steam wallet, so he was like, if I buy it and send you the receipt, can I get a copy of the Humble edition? I hadn't figured out at the time how to do Humble keys, like generate the Humble store keys. But the beautiful thing about being your own boss and having your own game and your own company is I just went and said, you know what, here you go. I sent him a Steam key and I said, I'm sure eventually you'll buy it. So now he can get the game and he can play it, and one day when he has money not on his Steam wallet, he can buy the Humble version and let me know.
Yeah.
But that's the really cool thing about working on your own game is like you can interact directly with people like that, and it doesn't have to be this super impersonal, distrustful kind of relationship that you tend to have when you're so disconnected from the people who actually play your game, like at a regular studio kind of interface.
Yeah. And I do have a question for you, because Sharma said if there's a lot of character nerfing, we could blame him. Because he said when he goes in and you guys have created new characters, you have him play it to see how he does. And he told me he usually does pretty bad with them, so has his playstyle like definitely changed some of the characters a lot, or does it just give you more evidence about like the difference? Because I was telling him he doesn't play the game too much. So I was assuming you guys probably, since you created the characters, you know how obviously they work and how to do well with them. And him being a kind of a casual gamer, just picking it up to see how well he does that help balance it out a lot?
It can. You'd be surprised, actually. Sham, he gets a lot of useful feedback, it's true, but Sham also is very bad at paying attention, I want to say. Like, he loves... Sham loves to look at things and, like, give you feedback when he's not playing it like a game. Like, I'm watching the way you play, and it's definitely not how Sham approached Aubergine. He did not try and, like, learn how to play Aubergine. He picked her up and was like, I know how to play this character. Oh, if I'm not playing it right, it must be a problem with the character design.
Nice.
So it's a difficult thing, and I think he does that because we show him so much new stuff all the time. So the way that he looks at something, like you see one version of Aubergine, Sham's seen like 20. So it's a little bit different when you see like so many iterations and so many changes compared to when you're just looking at the final game and tiny changes.
Yeah. Sanatana's a really good guy, though. he does seem to get very excited over the game, which I really appreciate. Like, that's why it's really cool he's like a self-proclaimed PR guy now, because he's hung out at so many streams, honestly, no matter how big or how small, and you definitely got a really awesome brother. That's for sure.
He's a pretty cool guy. I like that guy. He's alright. He can stay my brother for now.
For now.
For now.
I do have an important question for you, though.
Yep.
Because he showed us a picture. Is your hair still blue now?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
But I want it to be. I might actually dye it. Yep.
Okay.
I think for the launch party, I'll dye it blue again.
Nice. It wasn't a very important question. I just really thought it was cool because that was your hair color before you even started working on this game. So I thought it was kind of cool how he thought that like Coral was always kind of like in your heart, in your mind, like a character that was destined to be.
Yeah. She's actually really rad.
I do like her a lot.
For a long time, she was my favorite character, and then I started getting into Cannonball. I like to do stupid things with the Cannonball, though. That's why she's my favorite. Holly's probably my favorite character now. Like the level Filament. You know how there's those two tiny holes on Filament?
Yeah.
So I've played the game so much now that one of my favorite things to do is, while S-plussing that level with Holly, try and fire a cannonball so that it goes through just enough enemies that it loses enough energy, that the cannonball runs out of energy and falls down the tiny holes.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I think I'm past the point of sanity when it comes to which characters I play with and have fun with. I've just played so much.
Yeah. But that's what I really like about the game, because each level has its unique, like you said, it has a different way to play it, so you're not just doing the same thing over and over. You really have to tackle each level differently. And then each character has obviously different weapon combinations, so you can literally replay a level 100 times and be different every single time, which is why I think it's so addicting and so much fun.
I think the level you're playing at the moment is probably one of the hardest levels in the game. This level and Control, people seem to get really stuck on. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to tweak this level in the next update.
Is that the one with the
switches?
Oh, the switches, okay. The one I was thinking of was the one with the escalators, the moving belts.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's process.
Yeah, that one I'll never S plus because like it's not the level obviously because people have obviously S plussed it, but I'm bad at trying to dictate or memorize like which way it's gonna move and how it shifts, and like I find myself many times like fighting against it, trying to walk like the same way, opposite way it's pushing me. So it's my own fault that I'm bad at it.
You should try it with a character like Lemon, and then move with the escalators. It becomes a lot easier, I think.
Nice. Okay, thanks for the tip.
Because she can just spray and pray with rockets and things.
Yeah.
Ah, I got the battery. I believe in you.
I do.
Well done.
And my next question I have for you is, obviously you said it's you, Tim, and is it
Jeff?
Jeff? Yeah. And how did you all kind of like meet up and create the games? I know you guys. I think Sharma said you guys were working for a studio and you guys kind of broke apart. But how did you three decide to come together to make this for us?
So, I joined the Sega Australia studio about 6 years ago now. They're not around anymore, but at the time I joined them. And Jeff was actually working there. Jeff's actually got a really long history in games. So he's worked at Electronic Arts and Sega since way, way, way back when. He made the soundtrack to the first Need for Speed game. He's made the soundtracks to like most of the Total War games. He's won a BAFTA for his work on those.
Nice.
So like Rome, Total War, and all this. I think it was Rome. Wait, I know that he worked on the Shogun games. So he's done like some amazing work on the sound and music and games and things like that. And he was working at Sega Australia at the time because they'd just come off working on Medieval 2 Total War. And so they were working on a new console project. So I was with Sega for about 5 years. And over the course of that time, Jeff eventually left at one point. But Tim joined about 2 or 3 years ago. And there was a brief moment where me, Tim, and Jeff were all working at Sega together. So we kind of knew each other from there. Eventually, Tim left to join another company, a different company. Jeff left to join a different company. And I was still at Sega. And this was coming up on the end of last year. And I started talking with Tim about like, I think that I should quit my job and he should quit his job and we should make a game. And that's about when we made Antibody, and we were like, yeah, we make games pretty good together. Maybe we should actually do this. So we decided to quit our jobs and we decided to make Cactus. So we quit our jobs, and the first thing we realized was that making music is really hard, and that we sucked at it. So once we realized that, I mean, that was pretty quick to realize that, to be honest, because we really sucked and it was really hard. We decided to start looking for people who were good at making music, and the first person we thought of was, hey, Jeff might know some budding composers who'd be willing to work on the cheap since we have no budget, and he'd be able to tell us what the average cost is and where you could find them. So we contacted Jeff and we asked him, Jeff, what do you know about composers? Here's the game that we want to make together, and we have no money, but we're looking for people to partner with, and can you help us out? And the first thing Jeff said to us was, I don't really want to help you find a composer because I want to work on this game. And so ever since then, the three of us have been working on it together.
That's awesome.
It's been pretty good.
So it worked out well that you just wanted to ask him for some help to find someone. He's like, no, I'll do it.
Yep, that's exactly how it ended up. Pretty much the best thing that's happened to us on this game, actually, because his music is so good. I don't know how other people feel about the music in a game, but I personally love it.
I like it a lot, and I've seen some people say before that it can get repetitive, but I love how while you're playing, like how Sharma pointed out for me, when you start to get into the very like high intensity parts of the game, the music, you notice that the sound in it changes to match the tempo of how the level goes, which is really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 levels to each track, and basically as the game gets more intense, as you're killing more enemies quickly and things like that, we scale up the intensity of the music.
Yeah, and he did a very good job on the music. Like, I really do enjoy the music for this game, so I'm glad he decided to go on board with you guys and give it a shot.
Well, there's actually, in total, there's only 5 final music tracks in the game right now. Worlds 1, 2, 3, and bosses 1 and 2. Everything else is still placeholder, so look forward to what he's working on. So the music in the world you're playing now is a repeat of earlier music, because he hasn't finished the music for this world yet. I think he just finished it last night. Maybe I'll have a listen to it and see what it sounds like. He just put it up on Dropbox for me to check out, because we're working remotely. Me and Tim work from, we share an apartment and work from like a home office.
Nice.
And Jeff works remotely because he lives about 20 minutes away from us. I would like to have enough money that we could have an office, but for now this works.
Yeah, and there you go, chat. So stop being salty and saying it repeats, because it's a placeholder. You heard it here.
Yeah. You only level worlds 1, 2, and 3 have unique music right now. So worlds 4 and 5 are both just repeating the music from earlier worlds, and even things like the menu music and some other areas, Jeff really wants to do new music for those.
Nice. So I'm really looking forward to that now. That's really, really cool. And a lot of people don't understand, like, music really can make a game. Like, I talked to Sharma before, and I told him how FTL is probably one of my favorite music soundtracks, like, of any game ever. Like, I really adore the music to that game. And this music is, to me, it's getting to the point where it's, like, almost just as good. But now here, there's even more tracks coming out. It's really exciting, because the music can definitely... It kind of makes the game, you know. Like you said, it sets the tempo, it sets the beat, kind of helps you concentrate a bit, I guess, on like when it gets more intense. Then you can tell by the music, and I don't know, it's really cool. I like how it works together. It complements the game well, I guess I'm trying to say.
There's some interesting stuff as well where, because the game music's so interactive and dynamic, to do the soundtrack versions, the actual like arranged compositions, it actually sounds really, really quite different, just as an ordered track. So I'm keen to see what people think of that when it's out as well. Maybe we'll put a version of the first world's music up on Bandcamp or something, just for people to have a listen to, because the arranged track, when it's not having to be dynamic and switch between different versions constantly, is really quite strong. Jeff's an amazing composer when he's just basically writing music.
Nice. Oh, I'm sorry, I failed the level on you again. I'm trying my best to impress you here. It's not really working out too well.
This is a tough level. This
it
is
is
one of the toughest levels in the game. I think this was the first level I put in where the dynamic elements of the level change during gameplay and not between waves.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. And I did ask you what your favorite character was, so I'm also wondering what your favorite enemy was, because you gotta have a favorite enemy, or maybe your least favorite enemy, the one that kind of likes to break your combos on you.
Okay, so my least favorite enemy is the bomb, mostly because even though the bomb I think now is tuned pretty well, Tim had a habit of putting bombs in his levels that would just fall around your character.
Oh, I hate that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
He would do it in every single level that he set up the spawns in, because he enjoyed dodging them, but to me they just made me angry all the time. So I've really tuned back the bombs, actually. So that's my least favorite one. Although I was inspired by his terrible bomb spawn placement to potentially add an unlockable game mode called Explosive Rain or something like that, where basically bombs spawn all around your character constantly while you're playing.
Oh boy, that's a nightmare.
I think that would be a fun mode to turn on, like, because you could use them if you're good at the game. When a bomb explodes, it damages enemies nearby as well, and if you are the one who shot it, you actually get the kills for what that bomb does.
Nice.
So I thought it'd be a funny mode to enable where you can actually just like clear out the level as long as you're dodging them.
That'd actually be nice, and you could have like separate leaderboards as well, like for that mode, leaderboard scores, and that'd be really cool actually to see.
Yeah, you can do different things. I think at the moment our plan is that for the bonus options and stuff, we'll just disable the leaderboards. But maybe down the track we could add a custom special one, like just a single set of different leaderboards for if you have the EX options turned on. It's like yeah, there's a couple of things with leaderboards. We're still not quite sure how we want to handle it, but we're looking into it. And my favorite enemy, though, see, this is a tough one. I'd say it's the laser turret.
Really?
Yeah, I love lasers.
The laser turret gets me a lot.
It kills you?
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Oh yeah, it is. And I like how, at least when the turrets are there, you guys put up kind of shelterish areas where you can hide from it, but if you move, you're basically in big trouble.
Yeah, it's designed so that it just controls the space really well. I always try and take it down as soon as it spawns, but it's still one of my favorite enemies, just because lasers are cool. I can't wait till we've got in, we have plans for another enemy to use lasers, but it's going to be much more mobile. Should be interesting to see how people react to that, because I think lasers are one of the most fun parts of this game.
Nice.
And, oh, there's a laser.
And I was also wondering too, like, obviously arcade games were an inspiration, but was there any arcade game, like, in particular that really inspired you guys with this game, or just kind of like, or is it just the genre of arcade that inspired you?
I'm gonna have to go with. This is a very tough one. Honestly, I think Smash TV was a big inspiration. Although ironically, it turned out we'd completely misremembered Smash TV, and it was actually Robotron 2084. But thematically, it was Smash TV.
Okay.
Smash TV, that's a classic though.
Yeah, some good games. And I really like how Australia seems to be pretty good for cranking out some really good games and titles. And it seems like, does Australia have a pretty big indie community? It definitely seems that way.
It's getting bigger. Like a lot of our major studios all ended up closing down over the last year or so. Or not a year or so, sorry, after the last like 3 years or so. So you pretty much, we've had to sink or swim and become indie or move overseas.
Yeah, that's gotta be a tough decision.
Yeah, there was a point actually before we decided to quit and make this game that I almost did move overseas. But then we kind of ended up doing this, and I don't regret it a single bit. I think it's been the most interesting year of my life.
Yeah. What level was I on, guys? I'm going to do it with Coral, because I can't do it with Aubergine, I'm sorry.
You were on Assembly.
Okay, so I'm actually getting close to actually finishing it. Nice. And I hope you're having fun here, Sanatana. I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out with us and talk to us and help us learn more about Cactus. It's really cool.
I'm having a great time, and it's amusing to watch you play and see where I've made the game too stupidly difficult. I think there's too many turrets on this level.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that Aubergine is still... she's still new to me. I'm still trying to learn how to use her. So yep. I knew these later levels would definitely be tough, because it took me a while to even beat Embryo, and I got through him, so... It did take me a little while, though. I'm not like Sarah Sharpie or Soul and Cube. They're like your elite Android players. I've only got number 6 in the world on 2 levels, and that's like the best I've ever gotten.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah. Not bad. And yeah, right here, Lukaza actually asked a pretty good question. He asked, do you think the theme music for each character is a possibility?
I don't think the characters are going to end up with a theme music. That would be 8 extra music tracks just for the different characters. It's possible that there'll be slight variations in the main menu music based on which android you're highlighting, but I'm not totally sure. And Jeff's got a couple different plans he's experimenting with to see how interactive he can make the menu music, because you know how we have the interactive regular level music. He really wants to get it working so that as you go through the menu, the music changes based on which area you're in, but it stays with the same overarching track. So we'll see, but I wouldn't bet on it.
There you go. And is there like any level in particular? Because you said you can S+ levels pretty well, which I obviously expect, because being directly correlated with the development of the game, you must play a lot of it. So, what was the toughest level for you so far that you have designed that may have caused you some pain? Because you designed the levels, so I know you know what to expect, but...
Convection.
Convection?
Convection was very difficult. This level, Convection, Control, in order of difficulty, I think this level, Convection, Convection, this level, Control, and I can't remember what we ended up calling it, but the turning level. I know the debug names that I've assigned them, but...
Oh, this turning level, is that the one with a thing on it? Isn't that one furnace with a flame on it?
No, furnace I don't think is that hard.
Okay.
It's hard, but it's not nearly as hard as the one that's directly after Revolution.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, which is for like the last year in debug was just called Turn. So that's why I often forget that it's called Revolution. Yeah, that's basically what we do. Is in debug, all the levels are called like after their concept, because like we come up with that way before we come up with the thematically appropriate names. So like the level that we just put in called Control, that was called Switches. So whenever I think about it, I go, oh, that's Switches. But then like in the game, it's called Control because it's a way more appropriate name. Yeah, this level was discs, and
I
now
love
it's
this
called
level.
Focus.
I really love
You
this
like this
level.
one?
I
Oh,
like
good.
it so much because I that's why I kind of said in my first video I did for YouTube, because I know it's nothing like Battlefield, obviously, but the thing I love about games like Battlefield that have the kind of idea is just when the level changes as you're playing, because it makes it more interesting. It's not like a linear, just nothing changes and gets exciting. I like it when the environment changes and things change, because it keeps you constantly thinking and moving, which it's a mechanic I love a lot in games. And you guys have done very well with it in a lot of the maps.
Thank you. Yeah, this level was it's one of my favorites as well. It's a level. It wasn't going to be in the game for a really, really long time actually, because there was something else that we'd planned for this particular slot in the game, and then one day I just was thinking about it and I thought it'd be really nice to do vertical gameplay, because everything else we've ever done has been horizontal, right? But in this level you're like falling down vertical, so
Yeah.
I came up with this and I prototyped it in like an hour or two, and it actually worked and I was super excited. I mean, it took a lot longer to make the level into what it is now, but yeah, I was really happy with this one.
Everyone's laughing at me because I compared this to Battlefield. Obviously they were completely different games. I was just talking about the changing level mechanic, that's all.
They stole
Silly
our word.
people.
Levolution. We were obviously doing it first, right?
Levolution. Oh man.
I'm actually not aware of any other twin stick shooters that are trying to push this kind of changing level gameplay like we are. I'd love to see some if people know of some actually. Like I'm sure that they exist. I'm not trying to say that we invented this, because pretty much I don't think at this stage ideas exist in a vacuum like that. But it is interesting. The more I look at it, the more I think like this is one of the things that makes our game unique.
Yeah, and I think it's great. Like, I know my circle of friends, like most of them are in chat right now. really adore this game, and I just really happy with it because you guys are great people with how well at least the Twitch community so far is reacting to the game, and a lot of people have been playing it, and I got a copy for Vapid, and he was playing it as well on his stream, and I saw Jay Smith and Rockley Smile also did videos on YouTube, so it's getting some pretty good exposure, which I'm very happy about because you guys definitely deserve it.
Yeah, we've been pretty blessed actually with people wanting to make videos of the game. It's still, as I said earlier, it still surprises me every single time when someone like yourself just goes, "Hey, I want to make a video of your game. How do you feel about that?" And I go, "Well, I feel pretty great about that. Go for it."
Yeah, and that's why I love indie developers so much more while I'm stuttering on my words, because I've had problems on YouTube where, like, I don't even monetize my videos, so I'm small anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But I just do videos just because I like doing them and it's fun, and it gives the game kind of exposure and free advertising. So if you enjoy the game, there's nothing better that you can do for it than to make a video. And even if you have 1 viewer or 100 viewers or 100,000, like, every little bit helps. But I had problems with EA when I was doing Dead Space. They were getting upset with my videos, and I kept getting flagged. So I had to edit them a few times and re-upload them by removing certain parts, and it was a pain in the ass. So that's why I like some indie games. They're like, you know what, you can do a video and you can monetize it if you want. I'm like, no, I don't want to monetize it. Just as long as you're cool with me putting it up, that's good by me.
Yeah, it gets pretty ridiculous. There's actually a side project I'm working on at the moment. Maybe I could get some ideas from people actually. I was talking with some lawyers over here in Australia who have worked with Creative Commons in the past to help with their licenses. I don't know if people are aware of Creative Commons, but it's like a free-to-use open license agreement you can use to license any kind of product with attribution or non-commercial or various options you can use for it. But I was talking with them about trying to create a similar style license that game developers, and particularly indie developers, could use for their indie games to license the video rights, so that you could take the license to YouTube, and you could be sure that if you're making a video of this game, you have the rights to either use it with attribution or use it with non-commercial or different things like that.
Yeah.
I was at the stage now where these lawyers were really, really interested in helping actually. Like, they were going to help me for free to draft up some rules and see how easy it would be to adapt the Creative Commons base into a version that just covers video licensing rights. The next stage was going to be I needed to explain to them all of the use cases that people had, like, streaming on Twitch, using it for Twitter, selling DVDs, like anything that people would want to have the licensing rights for.
So many super fighters.
Oh, super fighters are nasty. So if you do ever want to talk about that kind of stuff, or have a strange use case for the kind of video licensing rights that you might want that might not be something I would think of, feel free to get in touch. I don't have that much time to be working on that project at the moment because we're trying to finish Cactus, but it is something that I really want to do, because I think we need to solve that problem sooner than later, because it's only going to become worse and worse and worse as time goes on when it comes to licensing rights. You don't want to get caught out a year from now when something you have on your channel gets struck from YouTube or Twitch or wherever.
Yeah, and it gets ridiculous too, because I understand some people don't want their stuff used, and that's 100% okay with me, but it's like, you put it on YouTube, and not only can they have it just removed if they want, but they can also take it over and make money from the hard work that you put into it. They obviously put hard work into the game, don't get me wrong, but when you make a video and some people put really cool effects and things into it, it just sucks seeing one of your creations just taken like that, you know what I mean? So it's really cool that you guys are thinking of doing that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I'd like to make an industry standard so that you really know where you stand, even if somebody doesn't want you licensing their product, at least if there's a standard kind of license that people use, and they use one that says no, you can't make videos, at least then you know. The worst part is right now, like you said before, you're relying on people saying, "Oh yeah, it's fine to make a video or not," but like, how much does that really hold up if somebody decides to later on screw you over?
Yeah, because like Volgar, I made a couple videos for them as well, and I got one of the videos got tagged because the developer told me, yeah, used it no problem, but it was like the music at a certain part of it that YouTube didn't like, I guess. So I had to edit the music out, but yeah, it's just things like that. That's mostly what a lot of things get flagged for, not just the video content, but the music to like the credits or the music to a certain part of the map, and it seems to be music that's getting flagged the most.
Yeah, it's I think if the developers use a piece of music that they don't have the licensing rights to rebroadcast, then you make a video of it, it'll get flagged. So it's all like, it's a weird, complicated thing.
Yeah.
So what are they saying? Autographed posters for AAC. It depends what we make a poster of. We've actually got a new piece of promotional art that we designed, and I think we're going to use it when we launch the game on Steam. I'd love to make a poster of it. Nobody can see it yet, but it's actually, wait a second. Where can I look at it?
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to talk about, like merchandise. I know a lot of people are excited about, like, they would love like a plushie Fido or like a plushie like Cactus or Coral or things like that. I think would be pretty cool if you could be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think so. Just let me have a look. I'd love to make plushies. I'd love to make resin figurines and things as well. I actually collect a lot of gaming figurines. I've spent way too much money on some of them. I was going to say the piece of art that sits at the top of our Facebook page is pretty similar to the one that we designed for our eventual Steam launch. I'd love to make a poster of that, actually, like sideways long style poster.
It's giveaway time, everybody, and the last one, that one was Jen's for Red Queen Velia, so congrats to Jen's, and this is our next one. And I really do appreciate you giving me a couple of codes to match the codes I got. That's really cool of you. You didn't have to do that at all, but it's really nice of you.
Hey, I appreciate that you went to the effort to try and do a giveaway, and you know, if people want to do that, feel free to contact me again anytime.
And make sure you're following him on Twitter as well. It's at Sanatana Mishra.
I'll find it. There we go. I'll put it in chat.
I memorized your guys' names by now because I've typed it so much trying to get people to follow you guys. But definitely go follow them, and they like to give you teasers. Like when I was at work and they released the new update, I was like sitting in my chair squirming upset because like Sharma and you were posting pictures like, oh, check out this person with this score, and I'm like, I just want to play. I want to be home right now. It was really funny.
It's nice to be able to release bits of information. I think we'll be doing that more as we're now really, really working on that content. I just realized that we now have more people following us on Twitter than likes on Facebook. That's the best, because Twitter's the future, right?
Yes, sir. And you guys have about another minute. I'll give you guys get entered in. The keyword is Cactus, and we'll get rolling with a winner. I believe Jeff does have a Twitter, right?
Yes, he does. Let me just see which exactly it is. He doesn't use it so much, but he does. This is Jeff's Twitter.
There's the Twitter, guys. Make sure you go follow that man as well. He's the man behind the music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just making sure I got that right. And I guess, because you said there's 8 characters and there's 6 released now, right? So...
Yeah.
Could you, like, give us a teaser, like, not of what they use, but, like, what kind of who they are? Because I know, if I remember correctly, Coral is a kickboxer. Cactus is an officer. You said the new one, Aubergine, is security. And Holly is a librarian, or a bookkeeper, they call her.
That's right. She's the ship's bookkeeper.
I'm trying to remember Lemon. I know Starch is just kind of... She's a mystery to me still. She seems like she was like a captive or something of someone, because you released her after Embryo. Not sure what her story is. But Lemon's the only one I forget a lot, because I haven't played her all too much.
So, Lemon is basically like a medic. So she's like ship's doctor kind of person, medic in training. So that's why she's got like the health signal signs and things on her, and the little satchel packs on her legs.
Nice.
And the remaining two characters, one of them is like the ship's mechanic kind of person, and the other one works in cold storage.
Nice.
I'll give you a tip. The 7th character is named after a type of nut.
Hazel. Did I get it?
I'm not saying anything.
But congratulations to you, Crony, for winning the 2nd copy of Cactus. I still got 2 more to give away. I've just been having too much fun talking to Sanatana and playing the games. I apologize for how long it's taken to do the giveaways, guys. I really do apologize for that. Let's go back to the game.
It's interesting to see people guessing names. Somebody else said Almond.
Almond? I didn't even think of that. That actually is pretty good guess.
Yep.
I'm going to invite you to a trade, Crony, because the ones I have to give away are actual solid copies that are sitting in my inventory. So I have a couple of copies left. And is there anything else that I haven't touched on that you might want to talk about? Because I do have a few more questions, but if there's anything I'm leaving out that you really want to talk about or let people know about, feel free to do so.
Okay, so PC version, I'll just cover the different versions, I guess, since I don't tend to talk about this too much. But PC version's in early access at the moment. There's a demo if you want to check it out. It's got a cross-section of levels and a boss and the first unlockable character. We'll be launching hopefully at the very, very, very start of next year on PC, and then sometime after that for Wii U, PS4, and PS Vita. If you buy it on PlayStation, you get both versions for the one price.
Nice.
It's pretty important to us that we did that, actually. I really, I love that on Steam, for example, or Humble, if you buy the game, you get it for Windows, Mac, and Linux. I don't believe in charging people multiple times for the game. If there was a way for me to make it so that if you bought the game on, one platform, you got it on all of them, I'd do that.
But that is a good question from Poke Freak. With the Wii U also has a gamepad, so will you make the game where you could look at your big screen or also at the Wii U screen, or how are you gonna edit it for that system? Because that's a really interesting things you can do with the Wii U.
There will definitely be off-screen play, just for starters. I'm still tossing around ideas for other extra information you could chuck on the gamepad just during regular gameplay. Or maybe even additional modes, like asynchronous up to modes where you have the person on the gamepad playing in a different way to the people on the regular controllers. It's a bit up in the air at the moment because we're still really early on and haven't had a time to prototype anything. Just like all the game concepts I was telling you about before, when something's just a concept and it's like talk is cheap, and actually implementing something takes time and effort. So until there's something solid and tangible in the game, I don't want to promise anything or talk about anything specific. I could tell you that our next project is going to be an MMO with infinite number of players and procedurally generated gameplay that will last for an eternity. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually what it's going to be when we go to make something.
Yeah. Oh no, the battery. There we go. So I've almost actually beaten the entire game so far, so it's... Well, the levels that are out anyway. Is this the last level, Control?
Second last level.
Oh, okay, so I'm close.
We're very close.
Hopefully
you should click on the switches for safety.
Yeah. I still need to learn what they actually do. Because when the turret comes, I gotta click one of them to bring up things to block the laser from hitting me. I think I've done convection, or is that the last level? I can't remember.
Convection's the last level.
Okay, so I gotta do that one next. I'm just doing it straight in order, guys. And also with that's really cool that you're bringing them out for other things as well. But the leaderboards, will each system kind of have their own leaderboards, or are you gonna kind of like interweave them all together?
Definitely their own leaderboards. Just due to the difference in control mechanics and elements like that. Like, personally, I don't think that one control is better than another. I think I'm more comfortable playing on controller, but maybe PC might be more accurate if you were a pro mouse user. So it's very hard to say. And then on Wii U, we've got like additional ones where you're going to be able to use Wiimote plus Nunchuck, like a virtual mouse.
Nice.
So yeah, basically, if each version has its own unique control options, then I don't want to make sure I don't want to have them all on the same leaderboard if possible.
Oh, that makes perfect sense, actually.
And you, as well as that, even though things are meant to be identical across different platforms, you never know if there's going to be some slight timing change or like any kind of minuscule change or different in patches between the three versions and the leaderboards become invalid. Like, what if we tweak an enemy for the PS4 version by accident and don't remember to bring it back to PC? Then all of a sudden, like, they're getting higher scores or lower scores because it's not in sync, and there's just too much danger involved with that for us. If we were a big company with like a really solid system in place to make sure that all our versions are identical, then yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah. And the only thing I feel bad about is that I missed the Kickstarter for this game. I don't know if you guys did a Kickstarter, but if you did, I feel bad if I missed out on it. Oh, you didn't?
We decided not to do a Kickstarter because as our first project, we didn't feel like it was the right time to be taking money from people until we knew whether or not we could really pull it off. Like, we ended up actually applying for a grant, and we've been awarded the grant, so we're working through the paperwork for that at the moment, which is
awesome.
A really, really complicated process. But we felt a little bit differently about that because a grant was like essentially the Australian government trying to promote independent studios within Australia that are owned by Australians and bringing work back to Australia, and it was judged by like industry professionals and experienced people, and based on the merits of your business idea and all these different things. It was just a little bit different than when you go to Kickstarter, and I feel like the worst thing that would happen would be if we did a Kickstarter, it was successful, and then we didn't deliver a great game.
Yeah. I totally respect that as well.
And I'm hoping that we do deliver a great game, though.
Oh,
yeah.
Most definitely. Like, everyone that I've seen play this game, and you can tell just by Twitter how much people love this game already for being in early access, because you can see me and also Solon and Jen and so many people have their Twitter icons are avatar faces from this game. Like, I couldn't figure out how to make a custom one, but Coral is my favorite. She's hard to use. I haven't S+ anything with her yet. I'm still learning, but I made her my Twitter picture, and my name's Coral the Wind on Twitter.
I noticed that. You're actually very good with Coral.
Thank you.
I'm surprised. It seems like people really love Coral. I never thought this would be the case because she's so hard.
And maybe one day when I get a bit better with her, I can claim a top spot in the leaderboard with her and give her the respect she deserves.
If there was one thing that you wanted to change about Coral, what would it be?
Only thing I would change about Coral would be possibly like more health, just for the simple fact that she does have many close range weapons, and or maybe not even more health, maybe like kind of a mercy timer type of thing, because you do have to get up close and personal with most of her things, and it can kind of suck if you got a good combo going and someone like a boss or an enemy gets a lucky smack on you and you go down. But that's why I said it takes a lot of work to get used to characters to begin with, so I know I'll get there eventually where I won't need a mercy timer, but I honestly believe most of the characters are perfect the way they are. I know you've been doing little tweaks to them, but you've done very well with the balancing.
Thank you. I think if there was one thing that I would change about Coral, it wouldn't be her health. I would, and I wouldn't do this just because I think that it actually is balanced at the moment, but if there's one thing that I think would make her feel maybe easier to use and a little bit more powerful, it would be if she moved faster.
Oh, yeah.
Because being able to get in really quickly on the enemies, like I always pick up the yellow power-ups when I'm with Coral. But that's one of the things that I like about her is that unlike the other characters, the yellow power-ups have a tangible damage benefit with Coral because you can get closer and use your shotgun properly.
Yeah.
So
this level is evil, I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, it's pretty evil. Do you like the patterns?
Yeah, I do love the patterns, and I know the blocks will eventually be like real fire, but in beta they're just blocks, but it's really cool. Like I said, every map has its own unique thing to it, and this one, the fire actually starts chasing you at one point, which it is right now, so it makes me kind of really scared, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Aubergine is Sarah's favorite. Yeah, Aubergine is such a tough character. I don't know if you've ever seen Sarah's stream and play. She is literally like pro master at video games. Like she'll pick it up and within 10 minutes she's pro. Like it's ridiculous. Which makes me feel so bad about myself.
Has she got S plus on every level yet? Nope.
Alright. With Aubergine I believe she has plus quite a few, which is ridiculous.
I'm just being mean because I told her the other day that there's a secret special message that appears in the game when you achieve S plus on every level.
Oh, and there's that.
And she hasn't got it yet. Actually, I think maybe like only 2 people in the world have ever gotten that message. So.
Oh wow, that's not fair. Yeah, give me the message, man. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. I'll try my best to find it.
It's not that rewarding. It's just something like at the last minute when we were doing the first early access build, I made Tim chuck it in because I said if people S plus every level and there's not something that happens, they're gonna find us and they're going to kill us. It's gonna be like Taken, only for us.
Nice.
He's got 2 levels left. Good luck. Crony's on 5. What?
Crony's on fire. Good job, man. He's already playing the game, which is awesome. That's why I love giving the game away because, like I said before, I gave it away to someone that was lucky enough to win it, and they tweeted at me. I believe it was Evil Fever. Tweeted at me and said they loved the game, and it's really cool. Really, really cool when people react like that.
You were on the last wave and everything.
I know, it's okay. I told you this level's evil. I can't tell you how many times this happened to me. Like I said, you were there when I was starting to have a little bit of a breakdown with the game, swearing a lot. I felt bad because it's not the game I'm mad at. It's I know I can do it, and I just screw it up. But that's what I love about this game as well. I haven't said it yet, but to you, I said it to Sharma before. I love how games like this are. The controls are so easy to pick up, yet it's still an extremely difficult game to perfect. So it's why it's so much fun, and the replayability is definitely there because so many characters, so many different ways you can tackle the levels, and you've done very well to like make it a different experience almost every time.
Thanks. One of the comments I said in a lot of the interviews recently was when people play the last 3 characters, they're gonna love or hate them. They're not gonna be like the first 4. You kind of they're enough in the same space that everybody can kind of get into them. But I feel like with Aubergine, she's the first character where really so many people are gonna hate Aubergine, but the people who do love her, like Sarah, it's gonna be really, really, really different kind of like getting into that character.
Yeah.
Like a totally different playstyle.
And that's what I thought was pretty cool because up until Aubergine, I'm sorry, it seemed to be more of like a bullet hell type of shooter because most everyone used bullets or they just have a projectile from a gun. It's really cool that it's something different. Like you're not using a gun, you're using like a little friendly robot to destroy things.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I love so many indie games. They have so many awesome ideas that think outside the box, which is why they do so well.
Yeah, I like to think so. Although we're making like one of the most inside the box style concepts. It's actually been potentially problematic for us actually, in that I think the indie space is only just getting mature enough at the point now where if you are making a more traditional style game like this, there's actually a market for you there. Because for a long time you had to be doing something really experimental to find people who are interested, or you had to be a big budget game. But now I feel like there's enough people with different tastes who play indie games that you can really make anything so long as it's good enough.
Yes, exactly.
So long as you have a character named after Carl.
Or me in the future. Play to win character would be nice. No, I'm
Play to win.
I'm kidding.
We'll see what we can do with the achievements in the game, huh?
Oh, nice. I would honestly, if that ever happened, like, I don't expect that to ever happen at all, but like when I see cool things like that, it would just make me smile. But you guys are just incredible people. Seriously, like Volgar, those devs are amazing, and you guys are too. That's why Volgar and Cactus and also FTL did a really cool thing for Omwrecker when he beat the game in alpha or beta. They said it was literally impossible to beat the game, and he found a way to beat the game in its impossible state. So the devs actually, he messed around and he said, do I get a cookie for doing it? And they actually sent him a big cookie cake in the mail, which I thought was really cute.
That is awesome.
And that's why I love indie developers, because I've talked to EA or sent them messages like, hey, is it okay if I cover this game? I'm not going to monetize, I just want to put it on my channel, and it goes like unanswered. And then I'll tweet at Volgar or at you, and it's like an almost instantaneous reaction, which it helps a lot with your enjoyment of the game, being a YouTuber or a streamer, when you get excited about a game and there's actually a conversation or a return, at least, on your question. It makes it more special, I think.
You will always get a response from me. If anybody ever messages me in any capacity, be it via email, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, any kind of form where I get a notification, I've made it my mission in life to respond to every single person. You remember that episode of The Simpsons with like Ringo Starr and he's like writing back letters from 30 years ago?
Yeah.
That one day, I think that's going to be me, because
Nice.
I had enough people like. It would not be good for me. I would go onto a rant if I started listing all the different publications and groups of people that never responded to me. So I've made it my mission to try and make sure I don't do that to anybody else.
We did it, guys. I've cleared the entire game. Whew. Not the entire
Awesome.
game, but most of it.
You cleared the early access, and with pretty good ranks to boot. There's only like 1D in there.
Yeah, it's not too horrible. Embryo, I actually S+'d Embryo, and I'm on the leaderboard, I believe, as S+ing him, but you obviously reset the... I don't know if you reset the leaderboard or what, but let me go to my rank. I can show you my ranks on these. 97 there. It's not too great. It's not bad. That's what I love, too, about the leaderboard. At the end of each level, it's like, here you are, and here's the person above you and below you on your friends list, so you can kind of have like that sense of like, hey, I did better than you, but you did better than me, like kind of bragging rights. It's really cool.
Yeah, we really wanted to push that. Oh, well, speaking of games where the soundtrack actually made or break the game, did you ever play a game called Shatter?
I've heard of it, but I've never played Shatter.
It's actually really, really, really good. I probably shouldn't be promoting like other games when we're talking about my game, but you should all buy Shatter on Steam. It's one of the best breakout style games ever made, and it's actually an indie game made by an independent studio in New Zealand. I mean, they're a pretty bigger studio. They've done a lot of work for like Warner Brothers and other large companies, but still, it was a tiny game made by a tiny team over there, and it's got one of the most amazing soundtracks I've ever heard. It makes the game for me.
This is a really upsetting thing for me right here. Like, I had 2 levels out of 6 in. Oxygen, I got bumped from 6 to 7. So whoever that is, can you delete them from the leaderboard, please? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll just delete the top 6. Go straight to number 1.
I'm just kidding. That'd be funny.
Poor Soul Uncubed.
But anyone in chat have any questions that they want to get out? Because like I said, I still have a couple more I can ask. But I want you guys in chat, if you have anything you want to ask this great guy, feel free to please do it. And I'll play Holly a bit because I know she's your favorite now, right?
I like watching Coral the most.
Oh, you like watching Coral the most? I love afterward. Now I'll try to S+ this level really quick so I can actually say I S+ the level for you.
Excellent. The only reason why I like Holly the most is because the cannonball is the best.
Confirm or deny a sandwich launcher? What?
Sandwich launcher? Deny. If you manage to guess the remaining 3 unannounced weapons, I will confirm them. Actually, wait. I'll only confirm them if you guess all 3 of them, so that way you can't determine whether or not your guesses are or aren't the weapons.
They have to... No, not just the weapons. They have to get the weapon and the secondary correct.
Yeah, you have to guess the final 3. So you know Railgun, but there's 2 characters left, and so that's 3 weapons you don't know.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I doubt anybody would be able to randomly guess the 3, though.
Yeah, so close. That's the only thing about this level that irritates me. It's perfect the way it is, but for me personally, I suck at it when the thing drops when you get the first 56 kills. To continue that chain, because you gotta get a kill really fast, because you only have like a split second to get that kill before your chain runs out.
Yeah, there's a couple levels that are like that. We're thinking about whether or not we pause the chain countdown while the level's changing. I'm not totally sure yet.
That'll make it too easy. Yeah, I like the way. I like how difficult it is, because the way it seems to go with this game is when you S+ a level you never S+ before. Like, you do it randomly in one shot because it's just like the perfect kind of combination just comes together for you, which it makes it special. It does. When you get like just a perfect power-ups and you're just moving properly, and it's really rewarding when you finally pull it off.
Thank you.
Of course. So anyone else have questions? I saw the sandwich launcher confirm or deny, but come on guys. Don't be afraid.
There is no sandwich launcher. I will deny.
Oh no! Oh, got that in just in time. There we go. S+, just for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Probably not
No,
even
S plus conviction.
Evil man. Okay. Can I have all your money? Come on, Evil Fever.
You can have all my money. If anybody wants all my money, I will transfer the balance of my bank account over to you. Serious offer. P.S. I'm in debt.
Alright, guess what time it is, guys. It's time to give another game away. And the key word this time is coral. You should know how to spell coral, I'm sure. I really appreciate, like, I know you said you appreciate me interviewing you. It's really awesome that I had the opportunity to talk to you and get to know more about you guys, because it's really cool. It was just as exciting for me as it was for you when you said yes.
Yeah, it's been great.
Have a good night, Evil Fever. Thank you for coming.
Yep. Night.
And if you don't mind, I do plan on uploading it to YouTube just for hopefully more exposure if people are looking for interviews.
No, go ahead.